Alright guys, welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. This is Ali Plays, and today we're going to be ranking all the defense-based legendary champions. So these champions are my favorite types of champions, the defense-based champions, because they double dip into one stat. So they double dip into survivability, and they use that to deal a lot of damage if their damage is based on defense, which most of them are. If they're not, then they're going to be ranked lower on this list, because that doesn't make any sense because they scale on defense. So just a disclaimer, just because a champion is ranked number 9 does not mean they're not good. And also, this is opinion and not fact, but I do have my reasoning of why they are ranked that way. So if you guys have any discrepancies with your rankings, let me know down in the comment section. And yeah, let's keep it civil, guys. So let's get started. So coming in at number 9, we have Noraag. So Noraag is from the Skinwalkers faction. Take a quick look at him. So the reason why Noraag is the worst of all the legendary defense-based champions, his A1 is not very good, has decreased accuracy. If it has decreased attack, maybe he would be better. So player can consider reworking him that way. That would be great. He has an AoE that places a block buffs debuff for 2 turns. Place block debuffs on his allies instead. That would make him much better as well. And his passive ability is pretty good. He's immune to stun, freeze, sleep debuffs, and he decreases the damage taken by all allies by 15%. So that is a very solid passive ability. But his A1 and his A2 is the reason why he is so low. And his aura skill increased ally defense in dungeons by 40%. So if that was increased ally defense in all battles by 40%, that would make him better. So that is a way to rework Noraag to make him a better champion. And that is why he's number 9 on my list. Coming in at number 8, we have Warchief. So unfortunately, the Skinwalkers have another guy on the lower end of this list. So we have Warchief. So I kind of like some abilities that Warchief has, such as his basic attack. It's a triple hit, but it has a really low chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. I think they should increase that, the chance of doing that, and then it would be better. So what I don't like about this champion, Warchief, is A2. He attacks 1 enemy. So his A2 also has a provoke on it. I think that's excessive because he has 2 provokes on in his kit. If they change that to something else, I think that'll be much better. So he attacks 1 enemy, he places a provoke debuff for 3 turns, and he has a 75% chance of stealing 2 random buffs from the target. Damage inflicted is proportional to defense. So the way they can make this better is changing the provoke into something else. The stealing of 2 random buffs from the target is very good. But yeah, his passive ability is pretty good too. He reflects 60% of the damage taken back to the attacker, and his defense increases by 10% for each dead ally. The way they can make this better is this defense increases by 10% for each hit that he takes, and that's up to a certain percent. Because usually if your allies are dead, the match is basically over. So at number 7, so I'm gonna have to put Soulless in at number 7. I know a lot of you guys got upset last time when I had Soulless rated pretty low on my list. I think it was the Void Legendary Champions that ranked all of them. So unfortunately, Soulless is number 7. His basic attack is just a stun. Attacks when enemy has a 35% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. That could be better. It's not bad for Arena if you can land the stun, but it's a pretty low chance even when you max it out. His A2 ability attacks 3 times at random, and each has a 75% chance to remove a buff, and he places a provoke debuff for 1 turn if a buffer is removed. It would be better if they made this an AoE provoke. That is one way they can improve it. And his A3 ability, Reign of Terror, attacks all enemies, increases the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn. Places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns equal to 30% of the damage dealt, and the damage increases by 10% per each debuff on the target. So this ability is very good. They can just leave it at that. And it's going to be a 4-turn cooldown as well. And his aura skill increased ally defense and faction grips by 44%. So that aura skill is very good for his faction. And yeah, that's why he's number 7 on my list. And he is extremely slow. He's got 87 speed at level 60. So number 6, I have Alton. So Alton is part of the Barbarian faction. So Alton is pretty good. He's a pretty good champion. His basic attack has decreased attack on it, which is automatically He's one of the top tier, I guess, decreased attack champions because it's on his A1. It's not on a cooldown. And his A2, he attacks when an enemy, places a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. And he places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns equal to 20% of their max HP. This ability is good, but it says in the end if this attack kills an enemy. So that is what makes him, makes it kind of situational. If it was like a shield and increased defense all the time, that would be much better. Instead of him having to kill an enemy. And his passive ability, he revives a random ally with 30% HP every time he kills an enemy. And he resets the cooldown on this champion's skills if the champion kills the enemy and all allies are alive. So this ability is actually very good for arena. So I guess his passive skill is okay. They just need to change his wall of flame ability and he'll be much better. I mean, he is very good already, but he can be much better if he wants to be higher on my list. And his aura skill increased defense in all battles by 33%, which is very good. So coming in at number 5, we have Drexthar Blood Twin. So I really like the champion. I wouldn't mind pulling Drexthar Blood Twin. He's in the Demon Spawn faction. So what I really like about him, he's a very good HP burn champion. He has a triple hit on his basic attack. This basic attack is very, very good. If you look at it, triple hit, that also has Giant Slayer right there. And he has a 30% chance of placing an HP burn debuff for 2 turns. And he heals himself by 20% of the damage inflicted if the target is under HP burn debuff. So this guy can be built with basically any good artifacts like defense, speed, accuracy, things like that. And he doesn't need any lifesteal set because he's going to be healing himself with his basic attack. So he's very good, especially when combined with a counterattack champion. His A2 ability, he has an AoE that has a 40% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. And that can be a 4-turn cooldown. And it's supposed to be 60% if you max it out. So that is a very, very powerful provoke ability. So that is why he's number 5 on this list. His passive ability, he has a 55% chance of placing HP burn debuff for 1 hit. So again, that is very good as well. Because he is a provoker, so if somebody hits him, he's going to place HP burn on them. And he can increase ally accuracy in all battles by 70. So this champion really, really shines in Spider's Den. He is usable anywhere in the game. But there's a lot of teams that use him for Spider's Den. So number 4, we have Ignatieff. So Ignatieff is part of the Ogren Tribes faction. He is a very good champion as well. He has a basic attack that just stuns. I guess that's okay. Just it's very good for arena, but yeah, it's good for arena and it's also good for dungeons, like for the mobs and things like that. His A2 ability, he has an AoE that has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn on a 4-turn cooldown. And when that's maxed out, it's a 75% chance. So his AoE provoke is much better than Drexthar Blood Twins. And his A3 ability, he attacks all enemies. And he has a 75% chance of placing HP burn debuff for 2 turns. And this debuff cannot be resisted. So he has one of the most powerful HP burns in the game. And it's on a 5-turn cooldown. And that's a 100% chance if you max it out. And his aura skill increases ally defense in all battles by 25%. So it is a universal aura skill. So that is why he's number 4 on my list. AoE provoke, an AoE attack that is like 100% chance of placing HP burn. And he has a stun on his basic attack. So let's move on to number 3. We got Martyr. Just joking. We have Rosin Scarhide. So good news, Rosin Scarhide is he is free to play champion. You can get him easily. If you've been playing long enough, you can get him because you summon. If you open up a lot of shards over time, even mystery shards, you can get the rare champions in order to fuse him, or you can just get lucky and get the epic champions. So Rosin Scarhide is a very good champion. He has a triple hit on his basic attack that can remove 1 random buff from the target. His A2 ability, he has a weaken on it and decreased defense. And he has an AoE that decreases the turn meter by 100%. That is very huge. And his aura skill increased ally resist in the arena by 90. So he's a very solid champion. This guy literally can be used anywhere in the game. Throw him in clan boss, he's going to be doing work. Throw him in Spider's Den, he's going to be doing work. Throw him in dungeons, throw him in arena, wherever you want to throw him, use him anywhere. So let's move on to number 2. So number 2, we have Valkyrie. So Valkyrie actually made it very high on my list now. She got a lot of love from Plarium. You guys can go check out my in-depth guide / review on her. It's one of my recent videos. It doesn't have that much views right now. I don't know, you guys are not watching it. It's pretty hilarious. So his A1 attack, her A1 attack attacks one enemy 2 times and decreases the turn meter by 10% on each hit if the target has any buffs. That is okay, but where she really shines is her A2 ability. It's an AoE that places a shield buff on all allies for 3 turns and a counterattack buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value of shield and the damage inflicted are proportional to this champion's defense. So this ability got buffed. It allowed her to do more damage with the AoE, and then the shield is much bigger as well. And that's a 3-turn cooldown if you max it out. So you gotta book her. And Jealousy is her passive ability. This champion's turn meter will be increased by 10% each time an enemy champion places a buff. Enemy champions will have their turn meters decreased by 10% for each buff they receive. So this ability is very good for arena. But what really makes her shine is this ability. Counterattack is very, very good in the game. There's only 3 champions in the whole game that have counterattack, and 2 of them are legendaries. One of them is an epic champion, Skull Crusher. You guys probably see my list, best epic defense-based champions. Skull Crusher was number 1 because of how good counterattack is. How good an AoE counterattack is. And an aura skill increase ally defense and faction crits by 33%. So that ability is so powerful that she is number 2 because of it. So let's move on to number 1. We have Martyr. So you can't argue that Valkyrie is better than Martyr. Martyr is actually better than Valkyrie, and I'll explain why. So they both have a similar A2 ability. Bastion of Faith is Martyr. She plays a 60% increased defense buff and a counterattack buff on all allies for 2 turns. So what's the difference between them is that Valkyrie's is actually better A2 because she attacks as well, plays a shield and counterattack. Personally, I like the shield better than increased defense. So that is only one thing that Valkyrie has over Martyr. Where Martyr really shines is her A1 and her A3 are actually viable anywhere in the game, as well as her aura skill. Her A1, she attacks one enemy, has a 45% chance of placing a 60% decrease defense debuff for 2 turns. So she has decreased defense on her basic attack, which is very good. And her ability Suppression is an AoE attack that places a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns, and she places a provoke debuff for 1 turn. So not only is she attacking all the enemies, she does a decent amount of damage. She builds her a lot of defense, gets some crit damage, crit chance with substats. She's gonna be hitting like a truck, and then she's gonna be decreasing their attack as well as provoking them. So they have to hit her, but they're gonna be hitting her very weak unless they're defense-based champions. And her aura skill increased ally defense in all battles by 33%. Valkyrie has a slightly better A2, but Martyr's kit altogether is much better. So those are my rankings for the ranking all the legendary defense type champions. If you guys find this video helpful or entertaining in any way, make sure you guys drop a like. And if you guys are new to the channel and like what you see, then definitely hit that big red subscribe button. And while you're at it, make sure you guys hit that bell icon to let YouTube know you want to stay up to date on all my latest content. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.